What's up, guys? It's Willie, and yes, I had just hit 1,000 subscribers. This is so incredible. Every single one of you who have been there for me and showing your incredible support for this channel, making this journey for this accomplishment so special. This is just so meaningful to me, and as a small content creator who always needed a semblance of validation and support from my fans, this milestone that I've reached just proves to me how much my content have really blessed you all. This is incredible, and to really celebrate this milestone, I want to make this special video solely about how I started getting myself doing YouTube, the timeline of my growth with the channel, and talking about an old YouTube channel that I used to have when I was a child, and discuss shortly on what I made back in the day, and at the end, go over shortly on what plans I have in the future for some more cooler video ideas I have in store. So putting it this way, I really want to share my journey from back then to now on YouTube and all the things that I have learned along the way being a YouTuber that contributed to this accomplishment that I hope can be a story that inspires fellow small creators who strive to accomplish something identical to me. Enough said, let's get right into the special. So all of this predates back to Christmas Eve of 2015, exactly over 10 years ago. So on that day, one of my mom's friends would invite us to a party at her home, and likewise, I came along for the joy of it. Now before continuing on, I should know that as a kid, I was someone who was very invested into YouTube, watching so many videos related to the likes of gaming and vlogs and stuff, and it had always been something that it was inspiring to me that if I would want to endorse on becoming one myself. And you know, part of life is always about doing anything that you can do, and it was one of the most desirable things I had as a child. Anyways, back to the premise. After enjoying some time at the party, I just felt my aspiration was reaching its heights to make YouTube videos, and so I ended up creating my infamous old channel, which would go by the name of Super Willie Space 55, because I guess I don't know how to properly put together the name where there wasn't a gap at the time. Enough said, I would record myself with my own iPad and make my first ever video, which was only 3 seconds of me saying, "Hey, it's me," which in retrospect, that was lame, especially as an introduction, but you know, that's my fault right there. And I would take upon to upload that video quickly onto YouTube and dub it as Welcome to Super Willie 55. And despite the very low algorithm it got, it did get quite a bit of attention from my folks from my elementary school who would take upon notice of it. And proceeding from that video, I would upload a couple more of like, oh, it's Christmas Eve and such like that, or like a personal story of mine and such sort. It just felt like a lot of that YouTube stuff really got into me that I immediately just started recording whatever I felt like it and just having that passion to just make an upload and such. Now, it was mostly just average vlogs of me rambling and stuff, but I personally believe that the biggest charm to my old channel was the stop motion animations, where I made a couple series that involved relationships and a bit of fantasy into it. We're talking things through. I would just use the likes of some toys that I had and school supplies like markers for my characters because that's how creative I am. But generally, my stop motion animations were the big epitome for my channel's recognition for those who would watch it, and I really just had a lot of fun really discussing it with my friends and schoolmates, and at the same time, not either of them I ever really completed, which at this point I don't think it will be from a more project-like standpoint. Just looking back at it, wow, I really miss feeling young as a kid, but we all know life has to continue on, and so would I with my channel. Though with that said, aside from those, I really only was able to keep up my consistency on my channel for about 4 months, and around the middle of March of 2016, that would be where I upload my final video, which would just end up being a 6-part to one of my stop motion series, and then after that upload, my channel would just go dormant. And it would just sit there with nothing to be posted, and eventually at some point I decided it was time to pull the plug, hence removing every one of my videos off my channel, which was a very big decision to make, but I just feel it for my sakes and feeling like YouTube was just not doing it for me at that time, I decided to just withdraw myself from the field. And even now it's hard for me to even explain that without feeling some sort of emotion for it, where while I'm still not easy of a crier, I can still feel some heartache for something that felt so special for me, and this old channel felt like it was something that could have established a great career building for me, but I just felt like it wasn't compatible for my liking, that I just didn't feel like it was worth keeping up with it. So yeah, this culminates the story of my old channel, and a good chunk of time would pass until 2022, where I would sort of make this reboot channel. I mean, not really an intention to devote my time into it, but mostly as a back burner, where in true essence, I would just upload a short presentation video that was more circumstantial for an English class I was taking, which is still up if you want to even check that out. But then afterwards, I would just occasionally upload random reuse content and other stuff I wanted to cherish from memory. But that's not until we get to 2024, which really becomes this big shift for my channel, or somewhere near the middle of the year, I would upload my renowned video, the Backyardigans 20-year retrospective, which this video I look back as such a historically significant one that kickstarted my channel's reputation. But I would be remiss without sharing more context to all the events that led up to the making of that project. So to break down the timeline, near the end of 2023, I would begin doing this nostalgic rewatch of the Backyardigans because I just felt a lot of its energy that I would want to relive, and that alone linked me to being attached to it so constantly as I would feel every ounce of nostalgia just rewatching every episode. And this would bleed into 2024 as we entered the new year, and every day I would constantly just find a new Backyardigans episode to rewatch to really feel all of that emotion of what I've lived through in my childhood. And then we get to March, where, as you may know, the creator of the show would tragically pass away, which again, rest in peace to you, Janice Burgess. You were an excellent creator, and this show has become so meaningful to me from then and now. So anyways, after that really heartbreaking loss, it just shattered me, and I just kept rewatching more of Backyardigans in honor of it. Now, to put it this way, as some of you may know, I'm someone who enjoys watching reviews and such, which is a big inspiration to why this channel is what it is. But yeah, with my own personal likings for that sort of niche content, I always wanted to see if there was any sort of full Backyardigans reviews, and I will say I was kind of taken aback by the lack of review videos it has. Well, truly the one big one that stands out to me was these pair of videos that were a lengthy summary of every Backyardigans episode that was made by a content creator known as Earth. Shout out to him. His reviews were excellent. But yeah, with him basically being the only one who has done like a full complete review of the show, I just felt like it was just not enough for me, as I really wanted to see more of that. So time went by, and around that point, that's when I decided I need to make one. I couldn't continue just sitting alone fathoming about what's going on without trying to make the move myself. Now, it was something that was a debatable choice for me, as that would meant a lot of work for my time. Now, obviously, I'm really committed to it, and I don't want to back out of the idea, but if you know, Backyardigans has 80 episodes, and it would have to require me to rewatch all the episodes chronologically and give me my reviews on it, which, I have to be real, take longer than the actual length of the final recordings themselves. And those ideas alone were clearly signifiers to me that they were going to be a huge complexity for this potential project, but I just couldn't help but to really do it, especially since this channel just felt so dormant and I really wanted to make good use of it. So around the time of mid-April, I finally got around to the making of one of the most special videos that I have ever made, and the reason what this channel is to this day, the Backyardigans 20-year retrospective. And yes, even though technically the day of its anniversary wouldn't come until October, I just felt like it was still better off the timing, especially since the year was going to be its 20th anniversary year. And with a lot of other factors lining up for what it's worth, I just couldn't miss out this big opportunity to make something huge for me. And once over a week of making the video, I finally got it published, and while I did personally have a bit of low expectations where I felt like I was just gonna get a couple 10 to 20 views, I instead wouldn't have expected myself to hit 1,000 views within a month of the video's upload, let alone reaching way over 30,000 views in its lifetime, which is still insane to me what this video became. So after having uploaded that incredible project, it just started dawning on me that I could really keep doing this for other shows that I watch. And that is where I had my sights on Dragon's Rescue Riders, a show that was going to celebrate its 5th anniversary later in the year. And as y'all know, it has a very hit or miss reception to it, where I'm someone who gives it more respect than most of the fan base does. So this is where it sparked in my mind that I could really be able to use my platform to really give my voice on things that I want to share, and my coverage on the show makes an example of that. And I'm proud that I did go through with it, as I was able to really draw upon more fans through the show, surprisingly. And now here's the catch: as if you paid attention to the timeline, I wasn't someone who was like uploading often on my channel. So by the time I started realizing that I could really make something more worthwhile for my channel's growth, I decided to establish this new scheduling where I would upload at least one video every month. And it kind of panned out that way until it finally reached to another new year, where in my own time I began recognizing that one video a month is just not enough, especially because the quality wasn't really as eloquent, especially since I have to really be banking on that one video to reflect a strong algorithm, which is not always a guarantee. So at that point, I made the decision to start doing weekly uploads to be a little bit more consistent for my channel, even though consistent is not really the most ideal way to describe how I ran this channel, but oh well. And that is exactly now where I fully made this system for my channel with the schedule of weekly uploads. Now with that out of the way, as I'm immersing myself into YouTube, there was still a big issue that I have was finding a proper niche, as I just started uploading a multi-layer of content from different sort of blocks of content like animation or reality TV or food reviews. And while I could have been more subjected into the review sort of mold, it felt like it was just so imbalanced that it was just bothering me, especially when I feel like most of the videos weren't really feasible. And yeah, it did take a while until I recognized which niche truly the most viable to work with on a channel, and that ended up being animation reviews. So that's when I let go of my reality TV coverage and my food reviews, as they didn't feel like in line with the type of content that has been working well for me. And since then, every other video from there on out was all related to any sort of animated media where I would make either a review or some sort of unique topic that I want to talk about associated with a show. It's that whole notion that really builds this ambition in me to just have fun concepting ideas and just take all of that into video production, and it has really built this experimental growth from my time here on this platform to slowly find my grounds on where I truly stand with on YouTube. And I do feel like this vein has really helped lure me back into the animation field, where I've just really expanded beyond my usual zone, where I've really gone back into checking out anime movies, which is where I fleshed out the idea that I could just also make movie reviews too. And I've even branched out to indie shows, which now I've been really invested into the genre, and I've been covering shows within its field, which has been nothing but special for my liking. And yeah, that's pretty much where my channel has evolved to what it is now. And this, alongside my other social media platforms, have been such a blessing to heart for what I was able to build around them. And likewise, what I liked about this is that it really helped me bring me back into an industry that I feel like I was slowly detaching myself from, because there's a lot going on in my personal life. And to me, my content creation has become this learning curve for me to really stay productive and use my leisure time in a more creative way. And I have no intention on divorcing any of that mold moving forward. Now, to put something this way, where I want to forward with in terms of style of videos I want to make, I'm still going to stick with the usual quota of reviewing any sort of animation material, whether it be movies or cartoon shows. And here's where I want to announce how much I really pulled the plug on this aspect, where I just want to make review videos on shows upon my leisure time. And this is part of a niche of more like shows that already had came out in the past that I have never seen. And I just want to subvert from the mold of just reviewing them based on a special occasion that takes place, whether it be an anniversary like 5th year or 10th year or 20th year, stuff like that. I just decided I want to break away from that, just because it makes me feel more restricted and basically delaying content that could be worth of giving my voice on those respective shows. And we see, for example, with the likes of like Knuckles series or like Spirit Rangers, which I had a blast with. Also, I could say even Rescue Rangers Heroes of the Sky, while technically I did make it on its 3rd anniversary. Come on, 3's not even that special of a number, but you get the point. There is no harm for me to cover on shows even if it isn't taking place in a special time associated to it. And this same thing applies to movies, where I just want to like stop time to wait for specific times to review them. I just want to cover it on my own leisure, because quite frankly, there is a myriad of animation movies in the past that I just want to talk about. And hence, I can even announce that I'm probably going to have a lot of movie reviews coming within the month. Otherwise, I'm still going to stick with the status quo of reviews of new movies that come out, as well as making retrospective on shows that are celebrating its anniversary on a more milestone number. And I still have other ideas of like doing an analysis on characters and looking into the details of them and in terms of their arc and such. That will be interesting, as well as whatever ranking video comes to the top of my mind. So there's so much on the belt here that you'll all have to just stay tuned for. That is really my journey from where I was to where I am now. And for me, I really wanted to share this to inspire many small creators who have similar goals but are struggling. Here's some key takeaways and themes from my journey. You need to have that resilience to evaluate yourself and your content to try and expedite its quality further. And this can stem from when you have a video that fails to reflect a strong algorithm. Instead of feeling that urge to just give up, try and persevere through that and evaluate yourself to make an effort to craft for better quality videos that will be steps above the one that got the short end of the stick. And you learn that through the core of your own skills that reflect upon how you approach the content you make. Then the best one of all, knowing your niche. The biggest thing is always knowing your target audience and understanding what they like. Analyze through which type of content really pan out to your audience, and once you figure it out, make that your priority to build upon that niche. But that does it for the video today. Once again, thank you all so much for 1,000 subscribers. I'm blessed to the core of my heart with this, and I couldn't reach this milestone without all of you. So wrapping things off here, likewise, you know the drill. I appreciate you guys all tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next video.